everybody. Well, welcome to the Squamish Tribe grave site. But here we are at Chief Sealth's grave. He was our second to last chief, most famous chief, and I just want to thank you all for being here to honor him and honor our tribe and honor our dead, our ancestors who passed on before us. Today is kind of a sad day for Indian County, Indian country. The passing of Dennis Banks yesterday, unfortunately. So, I'd just like to say a few things about Dennis. Dennis was the founder of the AIM movement, one of the many founders, and he's very influential in bringing back the culture for all nations across the United States and all of the American continents. I remember I studied Dennis when I was younger, and I remember he was talking about how his mother, when they took him to boarding school, which is where they took the kids at the age of 5, he felt like his mother had abandoned him, that she didn't love him, or she didn't really care. And so after she passed away, they found letters that she had written to his school. And so I'm just pretty thankful that he realized that his mom really did love him, and now they get to be together again. So so I just like to take a moment of silence for Dennis Banks today, if you all don't mind. So. All right, now I understand you're all here for the salmon. Before I get into that though, I'll describe a little bit about what you see here at the grave. In this bottom right corner, the story starts. These represent the house posts for the Old Man House, which is right down the shoreline from here, about a mile down that way. Oldest house, or the largest house on the Puget Sound, built sometime in the 1700s. That's what they represent. These are the nucleated circles that were always a big part of our artwork, in our old art. In our old artifacts, you see nucleated circles. There's also, you found a lot of them in the Old Man House itself. They put them in there. The canoe that represents the importance of canoe travel and the canoe culture to our people. And then above that, we have Chief Shawebe, the father of Chief Sealth, and he's pulling his canoe away from the ship of Discovery, because he went out there to meet the George Vancouver and all the other newcomers that came on the ship Discovery. They anchored off of Bainbridge Island, off of Blakely Rocks there. So those are the sails behind them, and then the sun represents the dawn of a new era, because as soon as they arrived, things began to change. Not so much as when George Vancouver arrived, but when the Europeans arrived, things began to change. Now we go over to this side. This represents Chief Sealth himself, and he's pulling his canoe. He's coming down the Black River. He was leading a successful battle against some mountain tribes that were coming down the river to attack Squamish, and he intercepted them, and he defeated all of them. He killed everybody, and that's what led him to being a chief. Everyone elected him as their leader after that. You can see the sun setting on the old ways above him. The age is changing now. Things are changing. We have more nucleated circles and canoe paddles represent that canoe travel and canoe culture is still big and important in our culture, even after everything has changed. And then here we have Chief Sealth giving his most famous speech at the Treaty of Point Elliott. And just that speech is now, you can see bits of it carved into put into the cement here. He died doing everything he could to protect his people, at the same time trying to keep the non-Indians, be on their good side. Even though they cheated him, they stole, they killed his people, he never attacked them, and he never let his people attack, because he knew that would just mean certain death for his people. So we honor him for everything he's done. We just want to say thank you for your guys' walk for the salmon. Salmon has always been a big part of our culture. If we lose the salmon, then that loses a part of our identity. And then who knows what else goes after that? Probably us, once the salmon died. It was said in the old stories that the salmon used to walk around like people. They pulled canoes, they lived in villages, they lived in houses, and it wasn't until the changer came and he told them, hey, I need you to become the food for the people who are coming. So you need to go into the river and the waters, and that's where you'll stay. And then you'll travel upriver and you'll spawn. And that's what he said. He asked them to do, and they did that with dignity, and they were proud to do it. And that was that relationship between our people and the salmon. But then the newcomers came, and things started to change. Within 20 years, our people were starving because they'd they rerouted the lakes, or they drained the lakes and they rerouted the streams and rivers and made them to where they couldn't naturally meander, so they destroyed all the salmon beds and the spawning grounds and all the oyster beds as well. And then the clearing of the trees scared away our game, so within 20 years our people were starving. But with a little love and tenderness, care, our salmon still kept surviving. You know, they're strong, they're determined to feed us, you know, to continue feeding us no matter how much destruction we do to their homes and their habitats. So on behalf of the Squamish tribe, we just would like to say thank you for that. I can't imagine my son not being able to go fish, or my grandchildren won't be able to go fish. So it's very we're very afraid about what the future holds for us in the salmon. But you know, it's good to see you guys going on this walk and trying to honor the salmon and trying to make it known that there's some problems going on with the way we're living.